We have exclusive franchises to develop almost 500 planets. It's my duty, Niaga. My responsibility. I can't shirk it." "Why not? If you wanted to." "Because I'm Martin Lord. Because I've been trained. No, it's something I can't explain. You'll just have to take my word for it. Now tell me, how should I go about negotiating a treaty with your people?" "You spoke of the government, Martin Lord. I suppose you used the word in a symbolic sense." "Your chieftain, your tribal leader, whatever name you have for them." Her big dark eyes widened in surprise. "Then you meant actual men? It's a rather unusual use of the word, isn't it? For us, government is a synonym for law." "Of course, but you must have leaders to interpret it and enforce it." "Enforce a law?" This seemed to amuse her. "How? A law is a statement of truth in human relationship. It doesn't have to be enforced. What sane person would violate a truth?" "What would you do, Martin Lord, if I told you we had no government, in your sense of the word?" "You can't be that primitive, Niaga." "Would it be so terribly wrong?" "That's anarchy. There'd be no question, then, of granting us a trade franchise. We'd have to set up a trusteeship and let the teachers run your planet until you had learned the basic processes of social organization." Niaga turned away from him, her hands twisted together. She said in a soft whisper that was flat and emotionless, "We have a council of elders, Martin Lord. You can make your treaty with them." Then, imperceptibly, her voice brightened. "It will take a week or more to bring the council together, and that is all to the good. It will give your people time to visit in our villages and to get better acquainted with us." Niaga left him then. She said she would go to the village and send out the summons for the council. By a roundabout path, Lord returned to the clearing around the Ceres. The forest fascinated him. It was obviously cultivated like a park, and he was puzzled that a primitive society should practice such full-scale conservation. Normally, savages took nature for granted, or warred against it. He came upon a brown gash torn in a hillside above the stream, a place where natives were apparently working to build up the bank against erosion. In contrast to the beauty that surrounded it, the bare earth was indescribably ugly, like a livid scar in a woman's face. In his mind, Lord saw this scar multiplied 1,000 times, no, 1,000,000 times, when the machines of the galaxy came to rip out resources for the trade cities. He envisioned the trade cities that would rise against the horizon, the clutter of suburban subdivisions choking out the forest. He saw the pall of industrial smoke that would soil the clean air, the great machines clattering over asphalt streets. For the first time, he stated the problem honestly to himself. This world must be saved exactly as it was. But how? How could Lord continue to represent Hamilton Lord, Inc. as a reputable trade agent, and at the same time save Niaga's people from the impact of civilization? It was sunset when he returned to the Ceres. On the clearing, the festivities were still going on, but at a slower pace. Ann Howard was waiting for Lord at the door of his cabin. She registered her official disapproval of the revelry, which Lord had expected, and then she added, "We can't make a treaty with them. These people have no government with the authority to deal with us." "You're wrong, Ann. There's a council of elders." "I beg to differ, Mr. Lord." Her lips made a flat, grim line against her teeth. "This afternoon I made a point of talking to every native in the clearing. Their idea of government is something they call the law of humanity. Whether it is written down or not, I have no way of knowing, but certainly they have no such thing as a central authority. This rather indicates a teacher trusteeship for the planet, I believe." "You've made a mistake, Ann. I'll have to check for myself." Lord and Ann Howard moved together through the clearing, and he began to talk to the natives. In each case, he elicited the same information that Ann had given him. The mention of a governing council seemed to amuse the savages. Lord and Ann were still conducting their puzzling inquest when Niaga returned from the village. She said that the council had been called and would meet within a week. "There seems to be some difference of opinion," Ann told her coldly, "between you and your people." "Yes," Lord added uncertainly, "I've been asking about the council, and—" "But you didn't phrase the question clearly," Niaga put in smoothly. "We're not quite used to using your words yet, with your definitions." To make her point, she called the same natives whom Ann and Lord had questioned, and this time, without exception, they reversed their testimony. Lord was willing to believe the language had caused the difficulty. Niaga's people were entirely incapable of deception. What reason would they have had? From that hour, the clearing was never altogether free of native guests. They deluged Lord's crew with kindness and entertainment. Lord never left the ship, day or night, without having Niaga slip up beside him and put her arm through his. Because Ann Howard had made her objections so clear, the native women, in an effort to please the teacher, had taken to wearing more clothing than they were accustomed to. But they rejected the sack-like plastics which Ann dispensed in the schoolroom, and put on the mist-like, pastel-colored netting which they used normally to decorate their homes. If anything, the addition of clothing made the women more attractive than ever. The scientists among Lord's men analyzed the planetary resources and found the planet unbelievably rich in metals. The botanists determined that the seeds for the exotic fruits and flowers were exportable. All told, Niaga's world could develop into the richest franchise in the Federation. Niaga took Lord to visit the villages which were close to the landing site. Each town was exactly like its neighbors, a tiny cluster of small, yellow-walled, flat-roofed houses nestled among the tall trees close to a cleared farmland which was worked cooperatively by everyone in the village. No single town was large, yet judging from the number that he saw, Lord estimated the planetary population in the billions. Continuously, Niaga tried to persuade him to stay and build a colony in the new world. Lord knew that the other natives were being as persuasive with the rest of the crew, and the temptation was very real to trade the energetic, competitive, exhausting routine that he knew for the quiet peace and relaxation here. As the days passed, the rigid scheduling of exploratory activities always practiced by a trade mission began to break down. The charming savages of this new world put no monetary value on time, and something of their spirit began to infect Lord's crew. They stopped bucking for overtime. Most of them applied for accumulated sick leave, so they could walk in the forest with the native women or swim in the forest pools. Even Lord found time to relax. One afternoon, after a swim with Niaga, they lay in the warm sun on a grassy bank of a stream. Niaga picked a blue, delicately scented water lily and gently worked it into his hair. Slowly, she bent her face close until her lips brushed his cheek. "Must you really go away when the treaty is made?" "I'm a lord, Niaga." "Does that matter, if you like it here?" "Niaga, I wish. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly. "Why is it so important for you to build your trade cities?" As he sought for words to answer her question, the spell of her presence was broken. He saw her for what she was, an extremely beautiful woman, sensuously very lovely, yet nonetheless a primitive, a forlorn child without any conception of the meaning of civilization. "We keep our union of planets economically sound," he explained patiently, "and at peace by constantly expanding. I have visited the schoolroom